Hi and welcome, my name's Andy and today I'm going to talk you through Chateau-x. Here we have a beautiful Chateaubriand, a bottle of Côte de Rhône and 3 lovely sides, pepper sauce and a lovely salt blend. As we open the box here, you'll see this lovely little booklet. Inside, we've got a cooking timeline for the chef to talk you through every single component in the box, as well as 2 little lovely menus for the diners. We'll just pop this over to the side and I'll talk you through the box. So we have this beautiful 28-day aged Chateaubriand with thyme, garlic and sauce au poivre and a beautiful little smoked salt blend. We've got honey roasted roots with sweet celeriac chantilly carrot. We've got a truffle macaroni cheese with aged pecorino and parsley crumb. Outstanding at this time of year with amazing fresh truffles. And then to finish, we've got Hasselback potatoes with seasoned confit garlic and thyme. And to drink, we've got an outstanding Côte de Rhône. So before we start, we're going to preheat our oven at 190 degrees Celsius in a fan assisted oven. If you don't have a fan assisted oven, then you can preheat it to 210 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the macaroni cheese and put it into our little copper pots. We're going to heat up our roasted roots and our Hasselback potatoes. So, 2 lovely little pots here, very small, perfect size to complement the Chateaubriand. You're probably going to have a little bit extra to go with your supper that evening. So, we'll lift this out, we'll pop this open, pop a little bit into the tub, and then we'll pop it into the oven. We use lovely fresh truffles from France in this. Not British, but I wish it was. Pop them straight into the oven. While that's happening, I'm going to pop a pan onto the stove and slowly let it heat. Our roasted roots with honey, rosemary and thyme, straight in. Don't worry about the presentation because it's going to look a little bit rough and ready anyway, but that's what we want. We'll pop that under there, pop that straight into the oven. And then we're going to do the exact same with a Hasselback potatoes. Pop the seal off. These are finished with garlic and thyme, so they'll give a lovely rich roasty garlic flavour to them. Box just in the bin, straight into the oven. We'll let them roast away. Pan started to heat up, so what we're going to do now is we're going to open the steak up. So it's been sitting out for 45 minutes to bring it up to room temperature. The reason in which we do that is so that the heat of the room is roughly about 16 to 18 degrees, and what that will do is it will take the chill off it, so that when we go to cook it and roast it, the temperature in the pan is going to permeate through the whole entire steak equally, giving us a perfectly cooked steak. Okay, so while our pan's heating up, we're going to open our steak up, and we're going to put it in a little dish. We're going to heavily season it to get plenty of flavour into it with the salt. Now this Chateau, we pre-cooked, so all you have to do is roast it in a pan with a little bit of garlic, butter and thyme, and then it will implement loads and loads of flavour to the outside. And then when you go to carve it later on, you'll have that extra depth of flavour over the top. What we're going to do, season it, don't be shy, loads of salt on the outside. So a little bit of oil straight into the pan. Make sure it's screaming hot, because if it's not, you won't get a nice crust on the outside of the steak. What we're trying to do is get as much flavour into that caramelisation as possible. If we don't get it, it will still be good, but it won't be perfect. Okay, now that your pan's nice and hot, if you're unsure of whether it's hot or not, just run your hand over the top of it, don't touch it. If you feel a lot of heat coming off it, that's you ready to go. If not, just keep it on. You might even get a little bit of smoking from the side, that's absolutely fine. So steak, straight into the pan. You can hear that sizzle. That's the caramelisation process starting and all the flavour starting to build up on the outside of the steak. So roast that in there. At the same time, you want to pop your sauce on. So in a pan, we're just going to pop it on the stove, get it nice and hot, pop the sauce in and bring it to the boil. You don't want to have it on for too long at the boil because it will start to split. So at that point, take it straight off the stove and just let it to sit there and stay warm. So in this sauce, a beautiful peppercorn sauce, we've got 3 different types of peppercorn. We've got brandy, shallot, garlic, thyme, cream, and some beautiful beef stock. So you can see that the steak's on just now and it's really starting to caramelise. What we want to do is to seal it on all sides so we can get that flavour all over it. Don't be too scared that there's a bit of smoke in the pan and a bit of fat. What you're trying to do is get it as hot as possible without burning it. As you can see, this steak's really starting to caramelise now on the outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this into the oven for 8 to 10 minutes at medium rare, 10 to 15 minutes for medium, and 20 to 25 minutes for medium well. Straight into the oven. While that's happening, check on your sauce. If it's starting to boil, just take it off to the side and don't worry about it. At this point, you can have a glass of wine. So we have this beautiful Côte de Rhône, an outstanding French red. Just a small glass to start. Cheers. So at this point, a steak spoon for 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to check it, bring it out, and then stick it in the pan. So you notice that I'm using a towel here. This is because the handle is extremely hot and I don't want you burning yourself. As you can see on this steak, it feels perfectly cooked. We're at just before medium rare, so in between rare and medium rare. And what we're going to do now is our little chef's tip that's in the timeline in the booklet. We're going to add hundreds of butter, some garlic and some thyme, and we're going to roast the hell out of it in this pan to create so much caramelisation. The flavour is unbelievable. Don't be shy when it comes to the butter. What I've done is I've cut it into small little cubes so it melts straight away. If I have it in one large cube, it'll just cool the pan down. It's obviously been sitting out at room temperature as well for the last half an hour to make sure that it melts straight away. As you can see, I've not held back. So in with some fresh thyme and a little bit of crushed garlic. Don't be shy with that either because it's full of flavour. The more garlic, the more fun. As you can see, the butter's starting to caramelise. And what I'm going to do is make sure we keep turning the steak. You want the butter to get darker and darker to make that rich flavour. It'll be perfect when you start to pour it over the top and it starts to fry the steak. So another couple of seconds and then we'll turn it down slightly and you'll get the perfect temperature. Oh, smell that. Unbelievable. So I'm just going to slowly start basting the butter over the top of the steak to add more flavour to it. When the steak's cooking, all the juices will start to come out of it and it'll emulsify with the butter inside the pan and the garlic and the thyme. Start putting that back on top of the steak. This will generate, again, more flavour. The more we can get into it, the better the steak will be. As you can see here, we've got hundreds of caramelisation happening, and what this is doing is it's creating all that flavour. So we're almost ready. So what we're going to do is pop our steak into a little side dish and just allow that to rest. So I'm going to rest this for as long as it takes to cook. So mine's going to be sitting in there for 10 minutes. But what I'm going to do is add the garlic and thyme and a little bit of the brown butter on the top. Doesn't look the most appealing, tastes absolutely sensational. So while that steak's resting, we're going to start looking at the rest of the sides. So we're going to grab our Hasselback potatoes and our macaroni and cheese with fresh truffle. Pop these into our little side dishes and then we'll start to plate up our main course. At this point, you can turn your oven off. So, main plate for your Chateau, 2 for your sides, 1 for your pepper sauce, and not to forget your wine. So, we're going to decant these into our little side dishes, one at a time. Just watch, you don't want to burn yourself. So we've roasted these Hasselback potatoes with a beautiful amount of garlic so we get this great nutty savoury flavour coming through. Not too much, we don't want to overpower it. Hasselback potatoes there. And then we're going to do our roasted roots, which are roasted with rosemary and honey. Don't worry about the presentation too much. It is a root vegetable after all. It's going to look a little bit rough and ready, but all the flavour's in there. That's all that really matters. Don't burn yourself. Pop that to the side. By this point, the steak will have rested well. So we'll pop the 2 macaroni and cheese up and we'll go to carve our Chateau. So, we have our beautifully cooked Chateau here. We'll take off the garlic and the thyme that's been resting over the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to get our little pot of smoked salt, carve the steak, season with the smoked salt, pop it on the plate and enjoy. So, we've cut our steak, it's rested, it's ready to go. We're going to season with a good helping of our smoked salt. We're going to serve this onto the plate. Let's finish off with a little touch of peppercorn sauce. So here we have it. Chateaubriand, Hasselback potatoes, roasted root vegetables, 2 little side orders of mac and cheese, pepper sauce, and a Côte de Rhône. Cheers.